Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mulus, on the forum.
And this is Parker, go by Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD, on forums.
This is Jeremy, go by, hashtag Dark Dimension, might not be fucking me, I'm not sure yet. We'll talk about it.
Hashtag no bargains.
No, math. Something.
All right, so some quick announcements. Jeremy, we have something to talk about. We have not pre-established the punishment for Parker bailing on us literally last second last week.
Should he choose his own punishment?
Yeah, let's. How about we let him come up with his own punishment, and then we'll vote on if it was enough or not, and then we'll be the moderators. What do you think, Parker?
I think this is a setup. I was sick.
This is as fair as it gets.
I was sick, and 2 hours before the show,
2 hours. It was literally 12:30. We had been waiting for 3 hours for Parker to show up, and then he texts us,
"This is a beautiful lie." It said
beautiful lie.
It was 7:15.
Parker,
I was just like,
you can't remember. You had COVID. You were delirious.
I did not have COVID. I was sick as shit with something else, and
was it amnesia?
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was amnesia.
You figured it out. Narcolepsy and amnesia. Amnesialepsy. It was terrifying. I couldn't remember if I had fallen asleep.
Well, me and Brandon are both sick and tired of this shit. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Of your shit.
Yes.
Specifically your shit.
The two hardest working podcasters we've ever heard of. Yeah. In the business.
Yeah. I didn't say what business.
The business of giving you the business.
Signaporean entertainment. That's what we're in the business of.
Oh, Lord.
All right, Parker, so what do you think is fair? Let's see. What did we do last time? It was like 100 episodes?
10 lashes.
It was a lot. But that's because he was literally at his computer, just not podcasting.
I was 6 feet away, unconscious. That was totally my bad. Yeah, that was fuck up. But that was sleep. This was not sleep. This was me making a decision I couldn't cast. It was my sore throat. I was hoping it would clear up, and it could not. I couldn't talk.
All right, Parker. So what do you think is fair?
If the mind is willing, but is the flesh weak, and I give somebody 2 hours warning, 30. Let's do 20 demerits for each hour. I didn't give you a warning, so
okay.
Let's be 140 demerits. If I would have told you at noon, would that have been fair?
Yeah, noon would have been enough.
Okay. If noon would have been, if noon was fair, let's do 140.
It's not
demerits.
A no call, no show. It's technically not. However, it is absent without.
Call it 7:59. Hey, I'm not going to be there by.
Yeah, no, he hasn't earned any vacation on this. There's no STA business. No.
I said my estimate. I think 140 sounds like a number.
So this is like a PTO kind of situation here, right?
No,
it's
because if it's
podcast truancy officiating.
Because if it was PTO, I could go in the middle of the podcast and just leave, but that's not the way it works. So that's I think it's not PTO. That's not. You told me afterwards, which is 100% fair, which is. Right. I need to give you more warning that if I think it's possible I might not be there. That's fair, which is why I brought it back to that window.
So 140 demerits. A demerit is the equivalent of 4 desagulations.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 140 times 4. And a desagulation is the equivalent of about 10 violations.
Wait, times? Should it be divided by?
No. This is getting, and then so each violation.
You're not answering the question. You just get
probation.
Vaguely.
That's 28,000.
That's a lot.
I'm okay with 140. Jeremy, what's your opinion on this topic?
Anything less than 140 is unacceptable. But he got right on the line. Like, it's respectable, kind of.
I would have accepted 100, actually. I would lobby that he went over, and therefore should be punished.
So 141?
No, 150.
150, you're going to round up? Okay.
Yeah, well, and so it's 100 for not over the episode, and then 50 for not appropriately judging his violation and making us weigh in on it. If he had just picked right this one, but he's cost us all this time now, that's probably another 50 right there.
I think I'm sorry, my brain went right to like a courtroom where somebody says, it says here that according to your crime, you should have 6 years in prison. I think this is a dumb number. It's way, way, way too high. So, as punishment, I think you should serve more. It's like the guy.
No, but that's for like, it's like I understand. I admit I've done this crime. I would therefore like to offer like 30 hours of community service.
I would like to plead guilty.
That's offensive. I would like plead guilty and offer 30 hours of community service. That's offensive. It should be 25, obviously, for this offense. So we're going to charge you 35 for wasting our time. You're like, what?
That's
like, what's happening. So you're at 978 probationary episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're down to 977 as long as you stay till the end of today.
Deal.
No clocking out early.
Okay.
You still owe Jeremy 11 pizza rolls, and you're not allowed to say the words blade or pineapple. So if you're talking about making pineapple salad, then that's going to be real hard because you're going to be able to cut it.
A chopped fruit salad.
There's another secret word, which I'm going to put here as an asterisk, that you're not allowed to say. We're going to have to start steering you in that direction, though, because you seem to be avoiding it.
How can I be avoiding it?
He is.
I sat down one day and just listed off words I don't say very often just to see if I could nail it. That's the opposite.
Which words did you say? Did I miss it?
I did. It was the Bender joke.
What's the Bender joke?
Where Bender has so there's a bomb in Bender's chest. And it's going to explode the planet, okay. And so they said they eventually get him to shut down, and he wakes back up, and the professor says, the bomb is wired so closely to your body, I can't actually take the bomb or defuse it, so we just changed the trigger word, because the word was going to be ass, because he says bite my shiny metal ass so much, and so we changed the trigger word to something you will never ever say. And he goes, ooh, what's the word? Is it thank you? Is it please? Hello? Somebody's got a case of the Mondays? And they're like, Bender, stop trying to blow up the planet. And he goes, he's like, may I? Antiquing? Boom! And the world explodes.
Got it.
We got him.
Ding, 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 ding.
Parker, the word was antiquing.
Okay. I wondered. So one more.
So I just let you keep going, knowing that we would get there eventually.
Yep. I love that joke too much. Worth it.
978. And now we have to come up with a new word.
Now, that's funny that you guys say that, because I'm pretty sure I said that word.
You said that when it was pineapple.
Oh.
You said the joke when it was pineapple, so then as my joke, I made it antiquing. And then I was like, well, he'll never say it again. He'll be fine.
Not if you give me a good Futurama joke. I'll see that.
Explains the joke again.
I'll see that shit every time.
All right, well, Parker, you're in the clear. There's no more secret words for today. Unless there is.
I was going to say, I think...
Unless we prearranged a word last week. All right. So anyway, that's end of announcements.
That was a lot of announcements.
What's next? Do we have anything next? Is that it? Are we done?
That's it.
Did we do it?
We're done.
We got it. Record time.
Cast closed.
All right, Parker.
Let's bring in news.
Stuff.
News. All right, first, biggest news. Hulkbuster is out. Bustin' Hulks. Finally hitting the shelves. A lot of places. They kind of trickled out, right? Because there are different ways to get him. But he's on a lot of retail shelves.
The ways are order your stuff on eBay from Europe because they don't care about release dates. Mm-hmm. Or support your local game stores and wait till last Friday.
Yeah.
Those are the two options.
Hulkbuster is out and about. Ms. Marvel also, we guess. She'll probably show up somewhere. Oh, by the way, Brandon, a little addendum to our conversation. Dear listeners, Brandon was showing me how very silly Ms. Marvel is, how she's able to start her activation. As long as she has 2 power, she can start moving herself forward and hit somebody way far away with rerolling a lot of dice. But you were wrong, Brandon, because in your calculation, you were using a medium base. That bitch comes with a huge base. She is
a large base. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
She is a large
Nice.
base. So I think her.
Or yours was mispacked, one of the two.
I don't think so. She's a size 4 character when she transforms. I think it is a huge base.
She is a big girl.
I think she's size 3.
Nope, she is a size 4, my friend.
Is she really?
She's
There's
big as
no
shit.
way she's actually size 4.
She is a size 4 character.
She's classified as size 4. She's more like size 2.5.
Yeah.
She's thick. She's girl.
She's on a huge base. So
large base. It's called a large.
Oh, sorry, large base. There's not a huge base yet. So the large base is packed with her, and it works. And so she actually moves a little bit further. I haven't done the math yet, but I think she actually attacks from slightly beyond range 5, where she starts with 2 power.
I don't think so. The difference between a large and a medium base is only like 3/4 of an inch, but it's extra.
Yeah.
I think it's outside of range. It's definitely outside of range 4. It's probably close to range 5.
Yeah. So if you guys are sleeping on Ms. Marvel, there's a lot of 3-point characters that come out when big shinies come out that are really worth it. Last one that came out was Hood. I think Ms. Marvel in this one is really strong.
So just for anyone who doesn't understand, if you spend the 3 power 2 in Biggin, you're effectively going to make 2 range 5 attacks that reroll 3 dice on 5 dice physical. Mm-hmm. That's what you're paying for within Biggin. And in addition to that, she'll be able to interact with objectives that the target drops because she can interact with it within range 2. And so even if you're at maximum range 3 to make the attack, you can still pick up the objectives that they drop, and then transform backwards to where you originally were, which is basically range 5 from your target. Mm-hmm. That's why I think she's going to be silly, because being able to transform from behind a kiosk to on top of a kiosk, attack somebody range 3 away, and then revert all the way back to behind the kiosk and be effectively immune to attacks. That's what I think she's going to be broken about. I don't think anything else about her kid is even really that scary. It's just the annoyance of having automatically elusive models that have rerolls. I think that's annoying.
She is literally like a elastic character. She does the rebound mechanic that you might like to do or see in some other games. Yeah. That's what she does.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think they did a good job designing her. Mm-hmm. I think she feels like what a rubber band person would play like. I just don't think it's going to be fun to play against. And I think that her aesthetic is dumb. I think she's an ugly looking character. But, outside of all those things, I think she's going to be really fun to play with, and she's going to be interesting to think about on the tabletop.
Mm-hmm. So, other things in news, as part of the Grunt Roundup from the last cast, there was one thing we wanted to add to the news from last time, as Jeremy and Brandon were going over some of the Grunt information that was put out in a panel to play. One of the things that was missed was that they are trying to limit the number of Grunt characters in play, so you're not just swarming the field, taking advantage of things like Captain Sam's leadership ability. So you can only play one Grunt type character at a time. Meaning that if you can't play the new Daredevil with Hand Member and Nick Fury with the Shield agents at the same time because they both have grunts. So they're limiting that to the battlefield, or at least the side of the battlefield.
Yeah, you just couldn't have your both grunts in play at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, that's important to note because I think we've theory crafted about putting multiple grunts in a list before, but that's definitely not going to be allowed, which is good.
And so finally, speaking of grunts, we got Nick Jr.'s panel to play. Nick Jr. is really interesting. He's got a bunch of stuff. We're going to go over it pretty quick here. So this is a Nick Jr. rundown. First off, he is 4-costed. He has 6 health on the healthy side and 5 health on the backside. He has 4 physical defense, 3 energy defense, and 4 mystic defense, and he has that as identical on the backside. He's a size 2 model, and he moves medium. His Fury Special is his basic attack. It is range 3 with 5 dice. It only gains him 1 power, but it does have Pierce on a wild. His Tactical Knife is a range 2 attack with 5 dice, and it also gains him power for every damage dealt. It has Bleed on a wild and Pierce on a wild also. And then finally he has Lead from the Front, which is a range 3 7 dice attack that costs 3. After this attack is resolved, an allied shield agent character, which is his grunt, within 3 of him, may advance short towards the target character. Then the shield agent character may make a pistol's attack targeting that character. So if he does that, and then it happens, then immediately after his activation ends, the shield agent makes another pistol attack because he does get them to activate, so he does more.
Mm-hmm.
So lead from the front basically gives your shield agents an extra attack and move on top of the things they're already doing during their activation.
Yeah, and potentially, as we'll talk about in a minute, like that's a lot of activity happening on one model's activation. So
Right.
that's pretty cool.
His attacks feel a lot like Bucky's. I feel a lot like Winter Soldier. I feel like his
tactical knife is literally adamantium slash.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it is exactly Wolverine's. Tactical knife is Wolverine's claws, but I like the idea that his spender does like 8 attacks, and they're all his first one is a 7 dice, and then all the others are just smaller attacks. Feels very much like Bucky. So his spenders is like Bucky. His melee is like Wolverine, and I don't know. Do we have a Pierce gun built? I don't know if we have a Pierce gun. Like a pistol.
Somebody did.
A piercing pistol? I don't know if we have that yet.
Jeremy, do you know of anybody that has a piercing
Man, I'm thinking. I'm certain there is, but I don't know who.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of... No.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know offhand. That's a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Black Bolt?
No.
Surely.
Black Bolt doesn't have an attack.
He doesn't have attacks.
He's never made the table.
Wait, are you talking about Black?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Blackagar Boltagon?
Yeah, his energy bolt, range 4, 5 dice, energy pierce.
Oh.
So it's similar. It's shorter range and it's a gainer instead of a builder, but still in physical, but it has pierce. So that's the most comparable that I can think of offhand.
Yeah, that's pretty profoundly different though.
I would agree. Yeah. That's noticeably different. It's not the same by any means.
But he has a nice.
Still looking.
But I think he has a nice series of attacks, all physical, but that's pretty strong. Are we ready to talk about some of these special abilities? Because he's got some.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So he, as predicted on this podcast, he is the leader of the Shield affiliation. His affiliation is called Last Line of Defense. It says 2 different things. If you have fewer BPs than your opponent, the first time each round an allied character is dazed or KO'd by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, you score 1 victory point. Basically, as long as you're behind your opponent, as your characters are being dazed or KO'd, you're scoring. If you have an equal number or more VPs than your opponent when an enemy character damages an allied character with an attack, the allied character may spend 1 power. If it does, after the attack is resolved, the allied character may advance short towards the attacking character. So if your opponent is hurting you while you have equal or more VPs, then you can spend a power and move your character closer to the attacker, kind of giving them aggressive, basically, for a power if you are in the lead.
So, cool thing about this is if you have characters with martial artists, this is really strong. Because... Oh, no, it's after the attack is resolved.
Yep.
Okay, never mind.
But it is a lot...
So basically, it's just aggressive.
It's aggressive for a power.
Yeah.
But it happens after attacks are resolved, so you almost always have power, unless they totally whiffed. It has to have power because it's damages. It has to be damages. So you have to actually get damaged. So it's exactly.
Yeah. You can spend a power to gain aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're currently in the lead or tied. If you're not losing the game.
Right.
And then if you are losing the game, when they daze or KO one of your characters, you get a victory point.
Yeah. I feel like we could take an hour unpacking this. Do we want to do this or try to do the other powers real fast?
Go ahead and run through the other 2 and we'll come back.
Okay. So Call in the Cavalry is another one of his abilities. It costs 2. If there is no shield agent character in play, place a new one within 3 of this character with an activated token, so they don't get to activate the turn they come in. It may immediately interact with 1 extract objective token. It is now part of your squad. So basically, you can drop a shield agent on the field. It can't do anything that turn, but it can immediately get an extract objective.
So this becomes very strong when you look at the fact that he's got a builder or a gaining pistol. And so even on the first turn, if you move up counter to him, he could potentially move, shoot you, place a person, and they could pick up an objective. So that's a really cool interaction of abilities that could happen on the first turn.
I didn't actually read this in the grunt stuff. Are grunts placed on the field when the character is?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, so he has to buy them.
You have to call in the cavalry. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Directive Shield is his passive. When an allied shield agent character is within 3 of him, it may reroll 1 of its attack or defense dice, and this character gains 1 power whenever the allied character deals damage or suffers damage from an enemy effect. So when you hit lead from the front, it is very, very similar to like Winter Soldiers, where when Winter Soldier, in order to do his spender, it triggers his builder, which then gains him power back. So whenever you trigger lead from the front, your agents will shoot and give him power back. So it's cost 3, but he'll get some back.
All right, and that's the last of his abilities, so we can start talking about stuff now.
Here we go.
This guy has a lot of fucking words on his card.
It's funny. He only has like three sections, but that's a lot of shit.
I mean, every one of his things is more complicated than your average. Like his basic attack, his ranged attack, his spender, his leadership has a lot of words. Both of his superpowers have a lot of words. It's just a lot of text, which is why it took Parker so long to get through it. There's a lot to unpack, like we were saying about. There's a lot of interactions here. Like we were talking about, you basically can give your list aggressive. You can come back by scoring extra points when your people are dazed. The thing that I kind of wish for him is that he had some kind of outlet for power other than lead from the front. Because while it's a solid attack, I don't think it's particularly inspiring. And so I feel like this guy's going to get a stack of power and not be able to spend it.
It is a range 3, so he'll probably be able to move. The problem is he'll like move and use it. Then what? Like he moves, he uses it.
Well, he potentially can be aggressiving towards you if you attack him, which is cool.
True.
But yeah, I think it's going to be.
He's one of those characters that is totally reliant on dice. He's kind of like Angela. Like he's got a really cool defensive stat line, but it's just dice. He doesn't reroll his defensive dice. He doesn't blank. Like it's just dice. So I don't know if I would be really excited about using him as a frontline character, aggressiving towards things.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's supposed to be. He feels like more of a skirmisher to me, or like a hangout on a flank kind of guy. But I think this is going to be a really strong scenario list, whatever you build with him, because it's hard to stay ahead of this list, because anytime you're hurting it, he's getting caught up. And then while he's ahead, basically his whole list has aggressive, and so it's going to be really hard to get him off of points.
So I feel like... Go ahead.
Who are the shield models that you can think of right now?
We don't know.
Yeah.
Imagining...
Yeah, just guessing.
We did a list of who we thought.
I'm just trying to imagine who's in
We're thinking it's probably Captain Marvel.
I would say Agent Widow, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Captain Marvel, probably War Machine, maybe Iron Man.
Yep. Definitely the Americas.
Yeah, both the Caps. That's 8 plus Nick. Nick makes 9.
Other
ones. I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Other ones that are likely looking.
Bob, hopefully.
Why?
Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's an agent of Hydra.
But he becomes an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. later on.
Oh, okay. That's
the comic. The comic transitions into Bob, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, I didn't know that lore. That's new.
Yeah, cool. It's super funny.
That's great.
He basically leaves Deadpool to join S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Because they get good benefits finally.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
They might do Wolverine. Maybe he's been an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That would surprise me. He does interact with Nick Fury a lot, though.
Yeah.
But either way, there'll be at least those 8 or 9 that we talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be some randos thrown in there, but
I'm
why? What's your
affiliation list?
What are you thinking?
Oh, I'm just trying to imagine which models would benefit the most from that, and who is in there. You know, like which models are kind of an auto include. Which I'm just trying to wrap my head around his.
I'll just say, if Black Widow, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not part of the affiliation, I fucking quit. Do you think Ant-Man or Wasp? Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, like I said, there could be some randos thrown in there, like
Beast.
For no reason. Yeah, like Beast. Like, why? I guess.
Why not?
Yeah, they could.
I could see Luke Cage, but I don't know that it really makes that much sense.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that
Black Cat.
I mean, the things like they could do Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, maybe. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
The Inhumans. They might come out with Yo-Yo and Quake. That could be really cool.
Yeah,
because they are agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. That would make sense. Yeah.
I would imagine there's going to be a second box set. It's not just going to be solo Nick Fury for the Shield affiliation. So we'll probably see some new models. And obviously Quake and Yo-Yo would also be Inhumans, and that affiliation might get less trash.
Interesting.
Yeah, but mainly the obvious auto include in Shield that we haven't talked about yet, Ebony Maw. just obvious slide in right there.
First thing you do is put field dressing in your list and also Ebony Maw.
Yeah, Ebony Maw auto include.
Followed by Ebony Maw.
In terms of his ability, the fewer you said like he could be a really good scenario list. It's funny that it just so happens that if he's winning on scenario against a non-engaging faction like Web Warriors, for example, somebody who's just going to push you away from points. If he's winning, it's great because as they try to push you away with attacks, you'll just come back. But if they're pushing you away with powers, he doesn't have anything to do with it. And then, since this Web Warriors may never oblige you to daze or KO until they're way ahead, like they can effectively nullify last line of defense. That's very interesting that it works really well as a comeback mechanic against beat-em-up lists, or if somebody is trying to control you with attacks to make you lose a few VPs. Like they're racing
all
you.
Board control lists generally also do it through attacking.
Right.
Obviously, they want to use as many superpowers as they can, but if they're not attacking, they're going to run out of power. So, and not to mention that a lot of it's easier to get an attack that moves somebody than a power that moves somebody, in my opinion. So, also not to mention just the times when you have melee models that you might just throw the list I'm just going to go like an X-Force style beat 'em up list and just take all the hard hitters that have short range attacks and use the aggressive to close the gap and not even worry about control points.
Right.
I'll intentionally get oh no, sorry, because you have to be equal or ahead.
Yeah, that's how
that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's why I think this is interesting. I think they designed this very well so that it doesn't feel it doesn't feel oppressive. Like you're not getting everything you want. I think because if you're trying to be a super aggressive faction and not care about VPs, then you're not getting aggressive, literally aggressive. And if you're trying to control everything and trying to come back against a scenario kind of list, they may not be dazing your guys enough for you to actually get enough VPs to race with them. So I think this is pretty balanced.
So it can potentially give you 4, maybe 5 extra victory points in the game. But mainly, like, on the first turn, you're going to have aggressive, and probably at least half the turns, I would imagine, you're going to have aggressive. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's definitely going to be something you got to get into it's kind of like Sin's leadership. Like, the first time you use it, you're not really going to get anything out of it. It's about learning the subtleties of it. Going where it's like, well, because how many times have you had, at, like, the last activation in a turn, and I imagine a person who has a Shield affiliation is going to have a decent amount of characters because they don't have like super characters. They're all fairly reasonably like middle ground guys.
Maybe.
And so you're probably going to outnumber most other players. And how many times have you had the last activation in a turn and gone, well, I can move over here and score this point, or I can go over here and attack this guy. Well, now it's actually a choice because it's going to affect how your leadership functions. Because you could start off the turn down 1. They daze somebody, you gain a victory point, now you're tied, now aggressive triggers.
Right.
And so if you're right there with them the whole game, it kind of starts doing both. And I think that's going to be really cool.
I think that's actually what it was supposed to be for. I think it's supposed to give you an advantage when it's close. I think you're going to see it get a lot of use when it's close. I think if you're just crushing them, I don't know how much you're going to need to come back, but I don't know. I think it'll happen every once in a while. I think your analogy to Sin's one is probably pretty apt. Sometimes it's going to feel really good and really great, and sometimes it's going to feel like, okay, well, I had one, I used it once or twice, it was fine. It didn't change the game.
Like if you're actually playing against criminals or web warriors and they're doing the all-in on scenario, not attacking your guys plan, where they're not really trying to beat you up, they're just trying to outscore you as quickly as possible, like the old Asgard strategy, then this isn't going to do anything because they're not attacking you and they're not dazing your characters. So the leadership is worthless.
Right. Yeah, precisely like an Asgard strategy or some web warriors maybe if they don't have to attack very much, it's going to feel like you're not getting use of the affiliation. Doesn't mean you're going to lose, it just means your affiliation is probably not going to help very much.
This feels very much like a fight fair list that's meant to fight against another fight fair list.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody at home doesn't understand that analogy, in war games, there's almost always some affiliations that are designed to play within the rules of the game, and then there's other affiliations that are not designed to play within the rules of the game. Like, for example, X-Force would be a perfect example, and Brotherhood would be a perfect example of fight fair lists. We're going to do what you're supposed to do, we're just going to do it really, really well. And then Web Warriors would be an example of a not fight fair list. We are playing a different game than you are. We're playing the manipulate the board, don't interact with your opponent. That's what we're doing. And so they try and achieve victory through a non-traditional mean, and that's what makes them a fight not fair list. They basically break the rules, and they're allowed to do things that normally a list wouldn't be able to, like move all your models off the points. Stuff like that. So I feel like if this is going to be like X-Force, where if you get... Uh-oh, I hit a button on my keyboard. Still recording. Bonus.
Nice.
I had to check. There's like a lot of things popped up all at once. I was like, uh-oh. So, yeah, if you're fighting against another fight fair list, I think you're going to have a great time. I think this could go sideways if you end up playing against a non-fair list.
Mm-hmm. We also haven't seen the tactics cards, so there might be some really good tactics cards out of Shield. There's a lot of tactics cards coming with this box, so we could see some more juicy nuggets, things that make it really exciting to play Shield. But I'm actually back on your comment. I was staring at it. The Director of Shield Power, which yes gives his Shield Agent a little bit of rerolls. The fact that he gains extra power when the Shield Agent's doing damage or taking damage is just one more reason why this guy is just going to be sitting on a buttload of power. I think you might consider running really weird cards that nobody ever plays, because when are you going to have 6 power to play Follow Me or whatever the name of that card is? Like this, he might.
I think Follow Me was going to be a really important thing for him.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be almost a staple.
Right. Because I think this is the kind of guy who's going to be like, yeah, I'm just sitting on 6 power and I can't do anything with it. Here, follow me.
Okay. So, if anyone hasn't actually looked at the panel to play, we haven't talked about the Shield Agents card yet.
No, we haven't.
And to me, it looks like just a little, like, Tactics card-sized card. I don't think it's going to be a full-sized card. It's just a little, like, Tactics card. But they have 2 hit points, speed medium, size 2, 1 defense in all 3 categories. They have a standard pistol attack with no text, so it's range 3, 4 dice, physical. They have the innate power Buy You Time. When this character drops an objective token, the controlling player places it instead of the opponent. So you get to choose where to put it within 2 of the Shield Agents. And they're on a medium base, so it's not irrelevant. It's a pretty big area. Mm-hmm. And then Shield Operatives. This character cannot secure objective tokens, and this character does not have to pay power when interacting with civilians or asset tokens. But that does not allow them to interact with Target of Priority, which are the ones that don't move. Mm-hmm. So they can only do the extract interacts that pick up.
Yeah. But they do, and the reason why they have that is importantly is because when he drops them on the board, they wouldn't have any power when they dropped in, so that allows them to pick it up for free.
Grunts cannot have power.
Right.
Yeah, ever.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying so if anybody was looking at this going, why can't they? Why don't they have to pay? That seems like a broken thing. Well, it's because they never can. They don't have it.
Yeah, they don't have power interactions at all.
Right.
So yeah, this is important. Basically, the way I see this is the grunts are basically going to be a very occasional chip-in damage. Primarily, they'll be hired muscle as a superpower. You're going to pay 2 power, place the guy, maximum range away from the objective. They're going to pick it up, and if they kill the Shield Agent, they're going to drop it range 2 from a medium base. You're going to move it basically range 3 towards you. So it's going to be basically a hired muscle as a superpower. That's the way I see it, the Shield Agents.
Do they do? Go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you.
I was just saying, I was impressed that they're this, like, not survivable. I thought they were going to have at least 4 hit points and have, like, 2s across the board. The fact that 3 regular humans combined for 1 defense die and 2 hit points is hilarious. I love it.
Well, I think it's the idea that they're just standing there, like, in a Charlie's Angels pose, like, da-da-da-da-da, and they're like, yeah, somebody can shoot
think about it. How often in the comics or in a TV show or in a movie is it like, random security team shows up and literally one guy just like bitch slaps them all against the wall and runs past them. You're like, oh, okay.
In action,
there's a reason that happens.
In every
X-Men
single
movie.
One. Yeah.
How many Shield Agents would it take to kill Hulk?
There's no number. There's no number.
Yeah, that's 65? Not a number.
The Hulk has effectively taken on the entire U.S. military and won. Like, just been like, I don't want to lose, and he didn't. So, I think
it would be funny to have these like grunts running around in missions.
I have a question. Something I was reading the panel play, trying to find anything that didn't dispute this. When they're dazed or KO'd, they count as, or rather, they can never be dazed. They can only be KO'd. When they're KO'd, would they trigger his last line of defense as well? Correct?
They are characters and they are KO'd, so yes.
Yeah, so that's another way to get the last line of defense to pop. So if you let them keep the token, they're going to be scoring that VP. But if he's losing and you kill him, they'll throw the token back towards him or somebody else in your army that you want to have it, and then they'll score anyway because you just dazed him.
Yes, that is correct.
So they are...
It's a bit of a catch-22.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're so useless. Like they don't do anything else. They just move extract tokens, which makes me feel like... What'd you say?
I was going to say, 4 dice attack. Take it from a character. Take it from somebody who's been rolling a lot of range 3-4 dice attacks recently. When you roll enough of them, it eventually does something. Not to say that these guys. But
my argument would be that they're not going to get to make said attack because they spawn with an activated token,
right?
Get killed. Spawn with an activated token, get killed. Like they're never going to survive.
They're going to be.
They're going to die instantly every turn.
They're going to be like.
And so the thing I would be concerned about, like they're half as survivable as Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Bob has twice the survivability of these people.
Yep.
If not more than that. Because 2 defense dice has a much higher potential value scored. And 3 hit points means that they have to actually roll 3 hits to kill you.
Yeah.
Which is not every attack. Like most 4 dice attacks don't generate 3 hits most of the time. And they have to get through the 2 defense. So I don't know that they're ever going to survive. The thing I would be worried about that's going to happen as a negative component of this is it's a way for your opponent to just generate free power. It's like, oh man, Wolverine really needs some power. I guess I stab this idiot, get 3 power or 2 power, and now I can afford to do my charge. And you're like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Like I'm worried that that's going to happen a lot. They're just going to be used for fodder.
The most power you can get is well, think of it this way. If a shield agent is within attack range, you functionally get Wong's ability, right? The spend an action, gain 2 power, or Vision's ability, spend an action, gain 2 power.
Yeah, kind of. So, except if you're Carnage.
Right.
And then he just kills somebody for free.
Right.
You're like, oh shit. Heals to full.
Heals to full, keeps
and
going.
Moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like, you have to be careful. Like, some people in the game are just going to feast on these guys.
Oh.
And so don't just go into a game summoning this guy because like you saw about it on the internet. Mm-hmm. Like you gotta put some thought into it.
Yeah. Speaking of thought into it, is this a good segue? Because I wanted to bring up something with this guy about gaining victory points. One of the things that I noticed in this game is there's a lot sprinkled all around this game. There's a lot of victory point stuff outside of the crisis cards, right? Outside of scoring based on the mission parameters, like Punisher's card and Killmonger's card. Now we have Nick Fury on his leadership, and I don't see those in game very much. Is that just because people around here don't play it, or because there actually is an opportunity cost that's just too high for those cards, and it's not paying off? The difference between winning and losing the game was not that 1 or 2 victory points that it nets.
So that we've had 4. So Thanos' leadership. Usurp the Throne, Blood Red and Personal, Evacuation Efforts, I would argue, because it was an out-of-activation scoring. Is there another one that I'm forgetting?
Natasha.
Obviously Nick Fury. Natasha, Interrogation.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So that's 6. Anybody else think of one?
Wasn't there an Inhuman card?
Terrigenesis?
Or does that just make you drop them, maybe?
I think you just drop it. Terrigenesis. It's loading. Score 2 victory points. So
yeah, there it
7.
Is. Yeah. I thought they had one.
7 cards, or 7 abilities in the game, one of which has been banned, and that was Evacuation Efforts. That was admittedly part of a crisis card, and that was the problem, but it was the fact that you could spend power to gain victory points was an unfair amount of victory points. So Thanos' leadership, I would argue, is mostly irrelevant to the game because one victory point by the time people start dying, the game's already decided. That's the same problem for Blood Red and Personal. Is by the time people start dying, it's concluded. Like, if you kill 3 people in a turn to get 3 victory points, it doesn't matter that you got the 3 victory points.
Right.
They just lost 3 characters. Like, the game's over.
It's a win harder stuff. Yeah, win harder.
Yeah, exactly. And so, Terrigenesis is noticeable. Tactics card that not only forces someone to drop an objective token, but potentially scores you 2 points.
But it's only useful on civilians, so sometimes you're just barred from playing it.
Right. But now that there's 10 tactic slots, that's a lot more palatable to put that in your 10 as opposed to your 8. And the last one was Usurp the Throne, which worked even if you just dazed them, which is nice. But it wasn't fully choice because it has to go against the most expensive enemy character, which sometimes Killmonger couldn't kill, and so that was a problem. But much like Terrigenesis, you could choose to play it or not. I think, generally speaking, the company has done a really good job of aiming low on that stuff because, as we saw with Hired Muscle, anything that starts fucking with victory points can get out of hand real fast when people push it hard.
Right.
And so I think they've done actually a really good job of reining that stuff in. And it feels like they're just kind of like raising the temperature on it just a little bit by bit by bit. Because Terrigenesis was much better than Blood Red and Personal, and Nick Fury is much better than Blood Red and Personal also. I mean, hell, you're basically guaranteed to score victory points with it if you're ever behind.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I think that we keep doing... I mean, you guys use Punisher all the time.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that card played. So they always seem like they're win more cards, right?
Like I tried it. Yeah. That's the problem. Is generally they're tied to already winning the game. It's like, imagine if there was a card that says when you score Wakandan Herb, score +1 victory point. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's like I just got 4. Like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Like this the point at which I start scoring this point, I win. It's like if there's a card, if your opponent has no living model, score 10 victory points. Like, it doesn't matter. Like it's game's over. And so, yeah, I feel like you're absolutely right. It is definitely a win more type situation on a lot of these. And so I think Usurp the Throne was definitely the most successful victory point gaining card so far. Terrigenesis is just not played because Inhumans suck. And Blood Red and Personal was just too expensive. If it was free and you just played it at the start of your turn, maybe. But tactic slots are so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And while Punisher can probably get 4 power, it's just not worth it.
I mean, the only one that's any good is the Thanos one, because that can actually win games. Like, you can grab a hold of a game with that, but usually at the time you do, you've already won the game regardless.
Yeah.
It doesn't have...
His is actually important a little bit because the turtle method with him was so valuable, because you're probably scoring 3 to 4 points a turn, because you're going to get the extract that's worth 2 points. You're going to turtle on a secure, that, or maybe 2 if they're close together, and you're going to use Thanos to keep your points clear. But if they actually send somebody towards you that's easy to kill, you can just, daze them, kill them back-to-back turns, and now you're getting a bonus victory point, which is helping you separate yourself from your opponent. In that way, you have less volatility in the close games. So it's nice, but you would never pay anything for it. It's just bonus, right? Like, would you pay 1 more point for that ability?
No.
Would you drop a tactics card for that ability?
No.
Yeah. So it's just extra. Like, it's not why you're playing him. It's just bonus.
So do you consider Nick Fury like automatically off the shelf, regardless of, of course this is hard to say, is his last line of defense, because it's not a win harder card, it's by definition, or win harder effect, it's a comeback effect. Is it already that strong? Even if there's nothing else about
I think a comeback mechanic is way better than a win more mechanic.
Right.
In a game that already has multiple comeback mechanics, that is valuable. Because it's hard to get truly out of a game in this hobby. Like, so, how about this? If I gave you guys the choice of either the leadership last line of defense currently as it's printed, or cut the first section of victory points, and the second part's always on. Which one would you rather have?
The day, every time your dazed or KO'd, you gain a victory point?
No. Lose that
aggressive?
Okay. Either you pay 1 to be aggressive all the time, but you have to get rid of the victory point part, or the way it currently is.
No, aggressive. That's insane.
You would rather have aggressive all the time and just fuck the victory points?
For sure.
I think so.
Parker?
I think so too, yeah. If you told me I always had aggressive for a power, I think that's pretty strong.
I think a lot of people would go the other way, but I don't think only time will tell.
Yeah.
I think it's very complicated. I think you already said that before. It's very complicated in how that can work.
I also think that...
Well, because think about it. When you're using aggressive, most of the time, you're just trying to not lose points. And the leadership is giving you points basically guaranteed if you don't have aggressive. And, as we talked about earlier, you can do both. If you're only 1 point behind... Which is, because remember, it's hard to get more than 1 point behind if you're playing to only be 1 point behind. And then they day somebody, you go back to tied, your aggressive turns on.
I will say this. I think Last Line of Defense, in this particular case, this is a kind of effect that's actually going to allow you to win the closer matchups, where normally you might fall too far behind at around turn 2 and 3. You won't fall too far behind, because either you're equal, like you said, and you're able to get back on points, or you're down and they're dazing you and you're getting 1 victory point. So in the close matches, you'll stick with it, right? Like you said, if everybody's fighting fair, if everybody's playing fair.
Right.
But
like how often, I would say in most games, the general difference in control points is between 2 and 4. But would it be a 2 and 4 gap on turn 4 if the other opponent was scoring a free point every turn? Well, it's probably tied then. So the leadership works.
Right. Yeah, I think it's...
So I just think... I think it's going to be more valuable than people think it is right off the card.
Yeah. I think it's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know if it's, top 3, but maybe.
I think this is by far the most intriguing victory point scoring mechanic we've seen in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those that you look at it and you go, okay, basic. I'm not sure if we'll set to see, but I feel like it really says whatever you thought you were going to score this game, you're actually going to score 3 more than that. I think that's the way it's going to functionally work. It's going to be like 3 more than that, and on average. And then sometimes you'll have aggressive on a stick. Like that is kind of what it says, which is a really interesting affiliation. Like get plus 3 victory points over the course of a game, and aggressive on a stick sometimes. It's a really interesting affiliation.
Yeah.
But I think it's unlike Terrigenesis, which I think we can agree is probably the strongest card that's a comeback mechanic for victory points. Terrigenesis says, in this very special case that you're playing a civilian and your opponent has it at an opportune time, which is not too Machiavellian, because if you having 3 power and you also have to daze them with the effect to get the 2 victory points.
You also have to roll dice.
Yeah, you have to roll dice.
Which anybody who's used counterattack knows that you blank out on that plenty.
Yeah.
Even if they only have 1 hit point.
Yeah. I think it's not as bad as counterattack because it's hits also, but it's only 4 dice. Yeah. So I think Terrigenesis doesn't. If you read the card, Terrigenesis doesn't feel like a Rube Goldberg machine. But then when you put it in your 10 cards and you realize how very, very rarely you actually get to do it, and now it's even worse because before you would actually have a fairly good chance of getting a civilian. Now it's totally random if you get your civilian, right? I don't think there even are 3 red civilians anymore, right? Because they took one of them out of the game. So
evacuation efforts was 1. I'll check. Hold on.
I don't think there is even 3 anymore. Or is like the Senator 1? Is Senator count as 1?
Yeah. So Senators is 1. Scrolls, Spider Infected.
Okay, so you could if you get red.
There's 3 exactly. 3 exactly.
So if you get red, you can actually plan on for sure having it. So that's actually something less Rube Goldberg, but you have to either get priority and pick red because you feel that's advantageous enough to just play Terrigenesis.
I mean, just flatly, I don't think it's worth playing Inhumans.
No, it's not.
Yeah. If it was not an affiliated card and it was just called something else, this card would be played all the time.
Yeah.
But Inhumans are terrible, so who cares?
Yeah, it's not a big enough nugget for sure. I mean, they're getting
they're easily the worst affiliation, right? It was Spider Foes, and then they got good. So
yeah, now you've got me. Could it be Asgard actually now, just because of how many goddamn times they've been forgotten? And they've been nerfed indirectly or directly so many times.
Hold on, let me see how bad Enchantress is real quick. I can't remember how bad that she got nerfed.
They took away her
so Amora costs an action. She can only move stuff once a turn. This is still fine.
She's still good. She's just not good. Crazy.
Yeah, she's just not broken.
She's not out of hand.
Yeah, that's fine. I would rather play Asgard than Inhumans.
I don't know. But I think it's actually close.
I mean, that's I know that personally it's because I like the Asgard thematics more than I like the Inhuman thematics. Mm-hmm. I think Black Bolt is probably fine for 5 points. He gets a bad rap. Yeah. Medusa is now pointless because she's just a mediocre 4-point character that has the Inhuman tag. Crystal is okay at best. There's much better 3-pointers. And Lockjaw is one of the best supports in the game, but you're supporting dog shit, and so the dog that supports dog shit is less good than the dog shit.
I think what it is now is you play an 11-point like base for it. It's Black Bolt, and then some combination of Lockjaw, Ms. Marvel, and Quicksilver, and like that's the base. And those 3, and because Black Bolt's not trash, he's just a very vanilla character.
And then you just play characters that are abusable with extra power.
Yeah, basically. Where if you'd really like to see them get 1 power. But again, we've talked about this before, that why aren't you playing A-Force if you want that gimmick? But I think, and Inhumans does have like the Royal Family, which is a pretty good card. And
A-Force has a cheaper leadership buy-in. They have better synergies. They have better utility. They have more affiliated characters.
Their Tactics cards are Terrigenesis is a cool card, right? But it's not as good as both A-Force cards.
Yeah, isn't that the problem? Is like all of their Tactics cards also require all Inhuman characters, right? And so you're playing all of the bad characters. Yeah. Like Beast is fine. He's a mediocre 3-point character. Quicksilver's good, but he's been outshadowed by Black Cat, who conveniently is in A-Force.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck me. Like, every time you're like, oh, maybe. No, A-Force is just better.
This is kind of a weird, like, apples and
oranges
situation.
Avengers are just better. Like, if you don't care... Now that Steve is better, why wouldn't you just play Avengers? Like, instead of handing the power around, I'll just not spend the power. Yeah. Like, that's better, right?
Yeah. I think it's...
Because you don't forget that you have all these power-hungry characters in an affiliation that doesn't actually generate extra power.
It's really funny.
You just move it around.
Yeah. It's really funny. Inhumans and Asgardians seem like the two most comparable, but when you actually look at the Inhumans, so many other factions do what the Inhumans want to do better, but the Asgardians actually do some things that no other factions do. So they're probably stronger. Even though the Asgardians and the Inhumans feel very similar in terms of like their construction, their affiliation size, and Asgardians keep getting hit by nerfs over and over and over again, so they might be the worst. It doesn't matter because the Inhumans, they painted a box with the Inhumans. It's just like this shitty watercolor version of these beautiful portraits in these other factions. Like, I don't know why the Inhumans is such a poor copy of all these other things other people do.
Also, Rainbow Bridge is still good. It's just not broken, right?
Right. Well, it was never broken. It was fine.
It was considered broken for a while because you could run up, get the objectives.
Oh, that's right. You could move with objectives then, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that was the only change.
Yeah, they have Rainbow Bridge.
So Loki's worth his
Odin's
points
Blessing.
For sure.
Like those are two great.
Especially now
they have a drop off for Loki. Shit.
Yeah.
Like drop off for Loki is great.
It's not drop off. It's fastball special.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
yeah, the ability to just force Loki down their throat is really annoying.
Yeah. So I mean,
you could also, because the affiliation has so much power, you could do the Rainbow Bridge and then Inspiring Monologue Loki. Yeah. And now you're talking about a guy who can use blanks and also gets to reroll his defense dice.
And you're spending extra power. Like they are. And by the way, the faction ability says as many turns as I have basically can equal extra health. Like,
yes,
that is really dumb in a faction when you could play things like, if you really want to do it, like Hulk, and you're like, Jesus Christ, like how am I ever? I mean, I'm just saying, for example,
you could still only heal each character once.
Is it once per round, or I thought it was once per turn?
Each character can only be affected once a turn. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for every turn you have.
It's not a turn; it's a round.
Every round. Sorry, each character can be affected by only each.
Okay, you could heal once per turn, so you're spreading it out across your list. So it's not.
Yeah.
It's not like.
But it doesn't have to be the character that is activating.
Right.
Yeah. So if they like incinerate one of your people that's already activated, and you go to activate Thor, you can remove the incinerate from the guy who's already gone.
Right.
So it's flexible in that manner. But yeah, you can't just be like, I have 5 activations. Hulk heals 5 every round. You're like, that's not how that works.
No. But it's still.
But I will say, so Valkyrie's a solid 3-pointer. Loki's clearly worth his points, however many that tends to be. And I think Enchantress is still a fine 4-pointer. Thor and Angela are overcosted. Hela is not good. But you can still bring in a bunch of other characters, too, that work well with them. I think it's fine.
We got on a real tangent here.
Shuri's a great. Yeah, I know. We were meant to be talking about
victory point
stuff,
yeah.
but anyway,
I think
I thought we were having a good conversation.
It was
Parker doesn't want to talk.
Well, if we can go down this rabbit hole for a long time. We got stuff that happened.
But that's how we get to the good stuff, right? Right, Jeremy?
You're looking for the wooden spoon of Marvel Crisis, and there is a draw currently. I'm waiting to judge. I'll give you a judgment when you're done. But I still think Inhumans is the poop pile. I gotta tell you.
I think Inhumans are the worst.
Yeah. All right. I think that's the news, though. Sort of. We did news sort plus. Of. News plus.
We talked about this in advance. We knew it was going to be a bit of a topic.
Yeah.
So moving on, our main topic today. We'll do hobby projects first. Parker, I heard that you touched plastic with your hands.
So the day Hulkbuster came out, I built that shit so fast. I was so excited to build it. I was actually a little nervous because I'd heard through the grapevine that Hulkbuster, he has so many pieces. Guys, have you opened up your boxes yet?
Yeah, I've looked at the model.
Okay,
no,
so when I saw the sprue, I was like, no big deal. I've assembled a big model before. I know what Dormammu was, right? And so I put that stuff, and I see the sprue, and it looks just the same, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I start clipping that shit out. Jesus. Titty fucking Christ. There were so many pieces, and none of them, because they're all electronic pieces, right? Like, it's just an electronic panel and a circuit board. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And it says on the little picture, it's like, well, you need an electronic panel and like a round circuit board. I'm like, okay, cool. Must be these two. Wait a minute. I have 6 round panels and electronic circuit boards. Okay. And the one thing that it did do that I really appreciated, that I was late to the party figuring this out later, is they specifically did square peg round hole stuff with hexes and position of the pieces that fit together.
It can only actually go together one way.
Right. It just takes a lot of trial and error to actually get those to work every single time. So I thought I was going to be able to build this like I built Dormammu, which was pretty fast, but it was nothing like that because of how many every forearm is 2 pieces, forearms are 3 pieces. Every bicep was 2 pieces. Every calf was 4 pieces.
Jeremy, what do you think? Have you put yours together yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm sure I
do not understand these people that are always like, because every time I go like on Facebook, it's people complaining about, oh, this model had too many pieces or something. It's like, if the pieces were completely unjusted, I get it. But like, I don't understand how they don't realize that the more pieces means the more dynamic they can make the model. And it's not like the pieces are grains of rice. Like, they're big, chunky pieces, right?
No. Yeah. No, yes. Yeah. That's true.
And every time they do a separate part, you can do really deep creases and deep cuts where the joints are, which actually adds to the detail of the model. And a model that's just made of armor plates, you want those.
Yeah.
Like, you want it to be obviously separated. You don't want it to just be like, look, they put a little line here where that's supposed to be the separation point. It's like, no, you can see where the big pieces are separate. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I don't think it was impossible. I wasn't mad about it, but I did. I was sitting there going, okay, Dormammu took me like half an hour. This is going to take me like maybe double that.
I think I figured it out. This is the equivalent of the argument to me is when a guy buys a coloring book and then they come to you while they're doing their coloring book and they go, God, there's so many fucking colors in this one. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, did you not understand the point here?
Yeah.
It's a model kit.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like an art project, not a fucking like battery replacement situation.
Right.
Like, it's not supposed to be like remove the cover, insert the batteries, replace the cover.
Right.
Congratulations. Like, it's supposed to be a model kit. It's like, has nobody ever assembled a model kit before?
So what's really funny is this came out the same. Hulkbuster came out the same day as Ms. Marvel. If you open up your Ms. Marvel box, that is a battery kit. There is literally like 4 pieces: an arm, a leg, a torso, a head, And
she looks like a GW model.
Yeah.
All the GW models are like this. They're like a hand.
Yeah.
Like, take your hand and spread it out, but if you look at it straight on, you're like, oh, look, it's got all these appendages, and then you turn it sideways, you're like, oh, no. Like, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a GW model kit. Look at all their big models. They're all fucking two-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's like they design them from the front and from the back, and they never look at the sides.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to look at the model from the sides, apparently.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to sculpt three-dimensionally if you do that.
So,
So that's a big sign of the 3D sculptor really phoning it in.
So, coming from... so the other thing I was nervous about with Hulkbuster was so many pieces. I'd heard through the grapevine that it was tough to make sure that all of them fit together in such a way that he would like get on the base and his legs and his hips and everything would like orient correctly. But I actually didn't have that problem. All of my stuff stuck in perfectly, and like he fit on the base perfectly. I have absolutely no issue with him being like weird or creased. I don't feel... I was looking really hard to see if I could find something I'd have to like fill in with modeling putty or something, but I found nothing. Like everything fit together very snugly. It was good. I was really impressed.
Is really good.
Yeah, I was really impressed about how many pieces they were, like how much of a true modeling experience it was, and yet how little I feel like I had to do to make it work. It just worked. So, just took a long time, a lot longer than you expect for a normal one. But that being said, I got them together, and I'm really stoked. I want to go bust some Hulks because he's my bane. Yeah. Hulk is my bane. He's the only thing that I can't beat, and so I'm gonna bust some Hulks. That's my.
Oh,
my
you
new
mean
plan.
you're actually specifically having trouble fighting Hulk?
Yes.
And so the only logical conclusion was for you to wait for Hulkbuster to be released,
so that I
buy
can
him and now play against Hulk.
So now I can bust Hulks. Yes.
What are you playing right now? What has your list been? It's been the shoot 'em up list, right?
Yeah, it's been the bucket of guns.
Are you gonna just transform that into a Hulkbuster list and just put Hulkbuster in that list? Because that would be fucking hysterical, and I think it would actually work.
I'm trying to think. I mean, it wouldn't be. It would be. He would just be Hulkbuster in Cabal, but yeah, I mean, you could do it.
Well, why wouldn't you? Could you not make the list? Because surely there's some rapid fire Avengers.
I don't know if it works any better or worse than like. I'm just trying to think.
Put Agent
We'll get to
Widow
it in a second
there.
when I played it in the tournament. It was a bunch of
and Bucky's in there, so you've got 3 Avengers.
Who's the third Avenger?
Bucky.
There's Bucky, Hulkbuster, and
Agent Widow. Sorry, I think we're having some internet issues. Right. You keep not hearing me, and you're cutting out on my end a bit, so I think we're just having some lag issues.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Agent Widow would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Bucky, Hulkbuster, that gets you affiliated.
Yeah.
As long as you don't take 6 characters. Is there another rapid firing Avenger?
No.
You're sure?
Positive.
Damn.
As of this podcast, there's only those.
There's one that's kind of rapid firing. Sam Wilson. He
does attack twice.
He has a bit of ricocheting. Yeah, that's not terrible.
He can kind of do it. He attacks way more goddamn times than he should. Let's just say that.
Quicksilver kind of attacks twice too in the same way if he rolls his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Deadpool. Deadpool's an Avenger. He's got super rapid fire because he's got bang bang bang. He can shoot 3 times per action.
Also,
and he gets a reroll.
Also, yeah, Deadpool with a Hood Gang is a thing. Like he'll probably rapid fire fully. Like he'll probably get bang 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 to go off. So that's not nothing actually. I actually consider Deadpool for the original version of this list because of Hood Gang.
War Machine has a pseudo rapid fire. He's got barrage, and so he's got like Doomsday Chair effectively. He attacks a second person within 2 of the original target at a range 4. And so that's not terrible.
So a plan is forming.
Oh, okay.
But I will tell you that...
And then you can play Hulkbusters.
Yeah, because Hulkbuster is... We'll talk about it when we get to the tournament. Hulkbuster is just not fitting with this. It would just be because I don't want to lose to Hulk, and he is strong against Hulk, so I might just do it because, god damn it, I'm tired of losing to Hulk. But
at some point, you have to do the all-power armor team, right? Where it's like War Machine, Hulkbuster. You can't do Iron Man, but you could do like Ultron. Mm-hmm. It could be fun. And most assuredly, we're getting the Ironheart series and Armor Wars, right?
Yeah.
Or is that the same thing?
No, it's 2 different things, yeah.
2 different things. So we're going to have a lot more power armor stuff coming down the pipe eventually.
Yeah, Ironheart's coming into this game, like 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully Rescue as well. We've already had her in an MCU movie.
And also in a Tactics card.
That's true. I think she's actually on multiple Tactics
I think she's on more than one now, yeah.
Yeah.
Just got...
Anyway. Yeah, we got a little off topic. So moving on, my hobby project has been, I like the idea of hobbying more than I actually like hobbying at this point. I've still got my Clea here sitting on my desk, still not on a base from last time. That's how much hobby time I've
had. You actually put it together, just not the base. That is awesome.
I have the base. The base is right here. See?
Oh,
and the glue is right here.
That is perfect.
I literally, all 3 components have been sitting in front of me for 3 weeks.
So close.
I've had 0 time.
That is beautiful.
I think I'm going to try and put Hulkbuster together after the podcast, though. I really want to. I want to play him tomorrow, but I don't know if I want to stay up till 2 a.m. putting together Hulkbuster.
Yeah. That's how long it took me. It was 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited. Jeremy, have you been hobbying?
I think I talked about finishing that last batch with Moon Knight and Dark Dimension Dormammu and some other junk, but I'm still staring at the Wizards. Like, I just don't give a shit about any of them. They're together and they're
painting
highlighted.
Them's going to take some serious emotional effort.
Yeah, especially since I've
got moving heaven and earth over here.
Yeah, I've got Hulkbuster sitting here in a box, so I think when I start slapping paint on Hulkbuster, I'll probably throw the Wizards down in there and just get them done too. But that's where I'm at.
So there's a monthly painting competition at the store, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out what to work on. It's open entry, any single bottle, and so I was like, oh man, I've already painted all the single bottles I actually want to paint. It's like, I guess I could paint like Clea and just phone it in and get something on the board, because I don't know how many people are entering, and I just kind of want to get something done. And I thought about doing the new Doctor Strange. It's like, I definitely don't have that much time. And then Hulkbuster released. I'm like, hey, wait a second.
You're gonna find the time for this.
Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's something I could get motivated on. So I'm gonna try. There's like 39 days in January, right?
Yeah.
So we've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days left. God, that's gonna be moving a lot. Especially with the playoffs right now. If there wasn't a playoff game this weekend, I could probably get it done for sure. But I might not get it to the level I want to get it to. We'll see. But I'm going to try. All right. So moving on, we have our main topic today, which is just a little bit of Turner review. We knew we were going to mostly talk about the Nick Fury spoilers. So, you guys went to a tournament this weekend.
Sure did.
Mm-hmm. That one of our good friends ran, even though it was a blizzard.
Guy sounds like an asshole.
Yeah, straight up asshole.
I like how everybody's like, God, it's gonna be so wintry out. There's no way we could come. And then there's like nothing during the day. And like, I guess I'll be there. We had like a bunch of people show up.
Well, it melted on the roads almost instantly. I was gonna be pissed if it was canceled by it, but we're there. So Jeremy, what did you?
It was pretty nasty the night before, but it cleared up pretty good.
So Jeremy, what did you play? I want to know because we played first round. Go.
You know what I played.
How about first, real quick, let's talk about, we used chess clocks for the first time, officially.
Oh, that's true.
So, what was your guys' opinion of just the chess clock, before we talk about lists?
So, I'll jump in here. Here's the problem. When we talk about chess clocks as a group, all of us come from War Machine, so it was living, breathing chess clocks all the time. So, it's really comfortable. However, playing with people who have never experienced chess clocks for this thing, and playing with them and walking people through it, like, everyone was happy with it. It was not an issue. Yeah. It went very, very smooth.
We had people that had never touched a chess clock before, and you could tell there's always those like nervous jitters you get when you realize you're being timed for the first time. You're really it's kind of like being on camera for the first time. It's like somebody's recording you doing something and you've never been recorded before. You get really like robotic and rigid, and and it's hard to process things because all you're thinking about is the timer. But pretty quickly you fall back into your rhythm, I think. And I don't think anybody really had a problem with it. I think everybody had a good time.
Parker, did you have a good time? I mean, you're the slowest player I've ever met my entire life. How were you? Yeah. How were you with chess clocks?
I mean, which is fine. The only game that I got close to, like, on my chess clock was the final round. I went to the final round and I lost because it was a puzzle inside of a puzzle and I couldn't solve it in time. But the in time was not the chess clock. It was like in time before the end of the game. So I lost the game while my chess clock was running out. So every other game was just fine. Your and my chess clock was fair. My round 2 It was a really short game, and so chess clock really never came into play. But I do think that for chess clocks, I will say to anybody who knows they're going to go play on chess clock, you should definitely have played your list before. And if you are playing a new model, don't play 5 new models, play 1. That's what I decided to do. I put Magneto on my list because I wanted to play Magneto in a couple rounds just to play Magneto eventually. And it was nice to have just 1 model to learn. He's also not that much of a puzzle, so that was useful. But I felt like I had plenty of time with chess clock and 1 new model. It worked just fine.
Yeah, Magneto's not overly complicated. He is fairly intuitive, but there's a lot of subtlety you can learn about Magneto with multiple plays.
I will say this about chess clocks. One of the things that chess clocks does is it feels like the rest of your day also happens, even though you had a tournament. Because sometimes tournaments can just like eat your entire day or feel like they've functionally done that, and chess clocks just eliminated that from this day. Last tournament we didn't use chess clocks, and
it was like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, my family got ticked because they're like, "You're still there?" I was like, "Yep, still here."
Yeah, and we didn't clear out till like 9:30 after prizes got given out.
But
and so just for clarity, we started at 1 because it's supposed to be a quick tournament. We had never run past 5:30 before, and the last event we had ran till almost like 9:30.
Good
and
Lord.
So chess clocks this time, I think we finished at like 4:45.
Mm-hmm.
It was very quick. Because what was happening is everybody's game would be done except for 1 table, and they were both playing super grindy lists, and neither of them were playing with any urgency. It seemed like every round we'd get a pair like this, and they would just grind it out for 7 or 8 turns because they kept pushing off of each other. And it's like, oh my god, guys, like, you can't play another round. Like, we got to figure this out. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, it's only 14-14. It's like, I don't care. Like, figure it out. Like, someone needs to do something other than stand on a point and shoot each other.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't make it to that tournament. I didn't realize it lasted that long.
That's it was crazy. Brutal. I had a date that night. And I was like, yeah, this will be over by like 6 at the latest. We'll meet up at 8. It's like 9:30. I'm like, shit. Yeah, it was brutal. So yeah, chess clocks this time, everything went super smooth. I was a big fan. Just so everyone at home knows the way we've been doing it, because I know there's different ways to play the chess clocks. In my opinion, and I think obviously anybody coming from War Machine, the only way to use a chess clock is when the timer goes off, you lose the game. Like, if you run out of time, you failed to achieve victory within the time allotted, you have failed. The game is over, you have lost. And I know that there's some larger events that have been doing, like, when you run out of time at the end of each one of your turns from that point, you give up a control point, which I think makes no sense at all. It's very confusing. And now that the timers run out, what incentive is there for you to ever end your turn? You just sit there until the TO ends the game for you? Like, I don't understand. Like, that was the point of the timer, is that the game has to end. 40K does the same thing, where like you keep playing after the timer goes off. It's like, what the fuck is the point? That's why you have a timer, so that the game doesn't go too long. Anyway, we do it to where I've been giving people the choice based on what their opponent wants to do. If they can agree, then it's fine. But normally when we use a chess clock, we take turns. Anything that happens because of one of your models happens on your time. If you want to switch it because of dice rolling, you can, but most people don't. It's just overly tedious. But if like you're cleaning up your day's characters then turn, that's on your time. Scoring your victory points is on your time. You flip to your opponent, they score their points. And then power phase, you power your models, flip it over, they power their models. If there's a lot of simultaneous stuff happening like that, like in the power and the control phase, I'm okay with players pausing their clocks to do that stuff during that time period. I don't think you need to, because I think there's plenty of time already, but if you find it less stressful, then I'm fine with it. I don't care. As long as the players agree on how you're going to do the timer at the start of the game. So anyway, moving on to lists and everything. What did you guys play? Jeremy, why don't you go first?
I've been messing with Spider Foes a little bit, and I just got my Dormammu painted. So I was like, how do I jam Dormammu into a list and also play models that I've been kind of messing with? So I created some sort of crazy amalgam of Dormammu plus Spider Foes plus Doctor Strange plus who did I put in there? MODOK? It was a weird fucking thing. It was like,
it was a very weird.
It was really weird. But actually, the thing that worked out the best is most of the time I just wanted to drop Dormammu and Doctor Strange and Mysterio. And that actually worked out really good. Like, I played the games and I was
very annoying.
I was like, this is kind of fun. So that's what I did. I tried to push that on everybody, and I don't think at the tournament I even played Spider Foes, which I think was apparent. I mean, I got this giant, shiny new model there. I think everyone knew what I was trying to do. It wasn't a big surprise. But
a lot of people look across the board, they see a 5-point or size 5 Dormammu, and they're like, oh, well, that's obviously coming at me. So they're planning on it regardless.
Yeah.
Which I think it actually could be a deep strategy, as you put Dormammu in lists that he's not supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And you never intend on playing him. He's just there to be distracting.
But doing the whole Dormammu and Dark Dimension thing was like playing, like I said, it was like playing craps. Like, here's a power, take a power away. Power goes here, damage, damage. Who gets power for that? Okay, go. Like, every single time.
It's like resource management in a board game. It's like all this stuff moving around.
Yeah. It was crazy. But it was super fun. Super fun. What did you play,
Every one of my turns consists of a change raise scam. Where I'm like trying to move all the money around. So everyone gets confused.
And actually, So the list actually became much more complex and interesting than I had imagined, because the dynamic of what I was able to do each turn, it was like a surprise every turn. I was like, oh shit, look where I'm at, or look what I can do. But then it was quite the opposite when I played a different version a couple days ago, where my list itself did probably 12 to 15 damage to itself throughout the game. And that was a whole different thing we can talk about later. That wasn't tournament related, but that's what I got.
Well, I think it's worth bringing up. I believe that Dormammu has a reasonable amount of counterplay once you've played against him enough. You understand how his mechanics work. If they can just like damage you a little bit, you'll kill yourself. Like, they don't even have to actually kill your people. And I don't think a lot of people have realized that yet, that haven't played a lot of games against him. Like, the best thing you can do against Dormammu is leave their people on 1. It's so crippling. Because you're like, oh, take 3. And so you put them over 4 power, or over 4 power, because they take 3. Even if they had 1, they go up to 4. And then in the next turn, they power up for 2 and kill themselves in the power phase. So they don't get to activate. And so you do that to like 2 people, and they're just playing with like half their list every round. It's crippling.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's a weird dynamic I haven't encountered with this game before, which is cool. It's fine.
I wish there was like you couldn't be dazed by it or something. Like, if this character suffers the damage unless that would be dazed or something. Like, add some terminology. If you couldn't actually get knocked down by it, you could just take extra damage. There was a term in the Lord of the Rings card game called Exert. And Exert was basically suffer a wound, but it can't be a fatal wound. It stops if it would be fatal. And so something like that.
I don't know. I love that it knocks them down. I think it's funny.
Of course you do.
I don't know if it's thematic or not. I don't know enough about Dormammu, but I can tell you it is absolutely crippling.
Yeah. So I played my Bucket of Bullets list. One of the things that, after playing it a bunch and game nights, there were some models that I just wasn't putting down ever. Not necessarily because they were bad, just because I could never bring myself to do so because the other ones felt stronger. Also, I was having a lot of fun with Mystique and getting to play her a bunch and really enjoying what she could do. So I thought, let's go ahead and put a Brotherhood switch into it. So I took out 2 of the models, Black Widow and Crossbones, and I put in Sabretooth and Magneto. And I had not necessarily planned on playing Magneto every round, but that's kind of what ended up happening. It was clear that I had a subconscious bent to just do it. So I ended up playing Brotherhood every round, and we more or less abandoned the rapid-fire strategy. I had 1 or 2 rapid-fire models each round, but mostly it was Magneto and friends. So first round I played against Jeremy, and it was a really, really close game where I actually thought I was getting diced so hard I didn't know how I could come back. Magneto ended up... I found out that against Dormammu, if Dormammu attacks you, you should not roll more defense dice. That is not what you should do. Yeah. Because
what you should definitely do is keep re-rolling your defense dice. That helps a lot.
Yes. So when he was like, Dormammu attacks you with my big spender, I go, cool, I will give myself 6 defense dice, and I will roll 2 skulls, and that is all. So you did 10 damage. So I was on my backside with full power, ready to kill Dormammu, and Dormammu one-shot me with a single attack. So learned that lesson. So I thought I was lost there, but I had so many very efficient 3-pointers Jeremy obliged me by forgetting about Asteroid M, the Tactics card, and so Magneto took out Doctor Strange really early in the game. Doctor Strange basically moved up twice, and that was it. So
yeah.
I do feel the need to point out this game was like Sex in the Woods. It was so intense that I don't think I've ever seen a game be this like fucking nail bitey on turn 1. Yeah. There were basically two people killed on the first turn. Asteroid M was played. Yeah. Dormammu was literally in Parker's deployment zone. Like, it was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You guys were just like swinging haymakers with your eyes closed.
Dude, I played 2 tactics cards on turn 1.
I played 2 tactics cards. I played 2 tactics cards on turn 1. We both did.
It was absolutely crazy. Like, you guys were all over the place.
Yeah.
I know is murder.
Yeah. I played Deception.
I only know the sound it makes when it takes a man's life.
Yeah, I played Deception and Asteroid M because you obliged and did 1 damage to Mystique so I could teleport to her. I was like, well, I'm playing Asteroid M first turn. We're doing it.
Not only did I do a damage, I actually moved her short at me.
Yeah, so that I could be within range 2 to totally blow you up, not potentially blow you up. It was fun. It ended up being a pretty close game towards the end. It wasn't a total blowout, but it happened. And then round 2, I played against somebody playing. What was he playing? Oh, Criminals, and it was on Criminals on Gamma Wave. And as it turns out, as soon as I was like Gamma Wave, he's playing Criminals. I'm going to play Magneto again. This time, not just because I want to, because I think it's the right call. And it was. That was. Not only did I have a sincere advantage, but his dice didn't help him at all. My dice helped me every time. So I really quickly blew up that one. It was really fast. So, and then the third game, I got to a final round in a tournament again. So in MCP, I think this is 3 for 3. I've been to tournaments and gotten to the final round and got second. Because this time it was against my old friend, the Hulk. And he was playing Avengers with Hulk. And it was another Gamma Wave. And I decided to play...
Have you considered not playing Gamma Wave against Hulk? Have you ever considered that?
I'd never had Gamma Wave, by the way. I think I lost every priority roll all day. So they picked blue every time, all day. And it just happened to happen the second 2 rounds. So, yeah, he had Gamma Wave Hulk, and... what I didn't recognize at the game is something that I ran into earlier, which is field dressing is a great equalizer sometimes, not a win more card. It's a great equalizer. And in this case, I should have recognized that I was staring at it going, there's nothing I can do to not automatically lose a model to Hulk. And if it's Magneto, I felt like I was way too far behind if he just got it for free. So I was like, I must preserve my army at all costs. And so I got really conservative, which meant Hulk just got to hang out in the middle of the board and exert his will. Didn't kill anyone, just I couldn't dislodge him. So it took too long. So I could have played it the way I played it with Magneto and let field dressing happen, and that would have been a great equalizer. That's what I should have recognized. Or if I knew he was playing Hulk, which I just had to guess, it was 15 points. Because Gamma Wave was on the board, I picked 15, hoping he wouldn't pick Hulk. But the fact that he did pick Hulk, if I had perfect clairvoyance, I could have switched to the rapid fire list, and I think that has a much better game against it.
I think that's a fallacy, because Hulk wants to play 15 points, because that makes Hulk a high percentage of the table, which means it's really hard to kill him.
Right.
And it lets, when he trades for models, the trade hurts that much more.
Right. So, but Rapid Fire and Dark Reign was like the point of having Dark Reign in the list is to beat Hulk, and I didn't play it. So if I see Hulk in a roster now, I'll play Hulkbuster. But then, if I don't have that as an option, I like Ball right now, I'll probably just be playing Dark Reign and a bunch of guns. So I think I learned from now my third loss to Hulk and my second in a
tournament.
A second in a tournament. My
first finals.
Yeah, my first log to Hulk in a tournament final was I had never played against Hulk before ever, and he taught me what he can do. And I was like, okay, well, I'll know better the next time. My second loss to Hulk was a close game where Hulk didn't get to do everything he wanted to do, and it was fine. But I lost barely.
Well, don't worry. I'll start playing Hulk against you a lot more often.
Sure.
So you'll get practice.
Yeah. But this last one was totally my bad. I got what's the word where you gets
French fry when you're supposed to pizza.
Yeah, I was sure I had it. Like, I'm not gonna let Hulk beat me this time, and then I walked right into what he wanted. So
you're like, all right, I know how to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge,
yeah.
And then you dodge right into the wrench.
Well, I think it's like the first one. I was like, I can't be aggressive because Hulk punishes aggressiveness too much. And the second one, I was like, okay, I had to be aggressive, but I had to use my comeback mechanic. So there's slowly but surely, I'm playing against the Hulks that beat me, and eventually I will beat him. So we'll see.
Yeah, obviously you would have made different decisions with hindsight. I noticed watching this game that you felt extremely intimidated by Hulk. Yeah. And because, like you were saying, you're like, well, if I move Magneto up, he'll just get killed. I was like, yes, but that's going to happen if you just stand here, you'll just eventually lose. And I was like, you got to get in there. It's like, sometimes it won't happen. And even if he does kill you, you gotta just leverage field dressing. Or get priority, because if you had gotten priority and then just like laid into Hulk after he killed Magneto, then you might have been able to get him dead the next turn, which would have been big. So yeah, moving on. Parker, do you have some story time stuff for us?
Oh yeah, we got a comic corner. Speaking of Hulks and a lot of MCP models, I just finished a new crossover. I say newish. I say new, but I think it was 2 years ago is when it was published in comic book form. But the graphic novel is not too old. Called Avengers: No Surrender. It's a crossover event, primarily an Avengers title, but it's a bunch of Avengers titles crossing over. It's done primarily written by Mark Waid, Al Ewing, and Jim Zub, who kind of collaborate on it. And the reason why it's so many is you've got the primary Avengers title in it, the Unity Squad, which is the mutants and Avengers together, the U.S. Avengers, which is a new kind of like kind of their West Coast equivalent now, but it's not West Coast. What are called the Occupy Avengers, which is exactly two characters, Hawkeye and Red Wolf, and unaffiliated Avengers like Captain Marvel, Captain America, Black Panther, and these guys are just kind of like hanging out, not really being leaders anymore, trying to step back on purpose to let other people run the show. So Rogue runs the Unity Squad, Falcon runs the standard Avengers, and formerly Sunspot, now called Citizen 5, runs the U.S. Avengers. And so the theme of this book was Earth is in peril, the entire planet's stolen, just like blipped from one part of the universe to another, and some of the key Avengers are instantly put into a stasis. So like your Captain America, Captain Marvel, your super characters that always seem to have the solutions and fix the problems, they're all now in stasis for some reason. We don't know why. And so all the Avengers squads decide to come together, but they don't have their big unifiers, their big Avengers Assemble kind of guys. So when it's Rogue, Citizen 5, and Falcon like trying to call the shots simultaneously, and there's kind of internal pressures amongst all these members. There's also a bit of a competition. There's a bit of like some of the characters have accidentally killed other characters recently due to accidents and stuff, so they've been resurrected. So there's all kinds of like inner team personal conflicts going on. And then for no reason that anybody knows, oh no, I'm just blanking on Thanos' team. What's Thanos' affiliation?
Black Order.
Black Order, yeah. The Black Order shows up, minus Thanos. Thanos is off doing something else. But the Black Order, which is just the cronies, show up on the planet, and they start competing with some other random bad guys. One of them was a previous bad guy, but then a bunch of them are cosmic bad guys that are invented for this issue. And they're competing for these devices that just appear, like they're just appearing on Earth in different places. And of course, the Avengers go to investigate why are some of the heroes in stasis, why are the Black Order and this other cosmic bad guy team fighting each other over these items of power, and then also what's going on with Jarvis, because Jarvis is basically gone under like a cerebral hemorrhaging, and it has something to do with what's going on. So
you mean Vision, or specifically just Jarvis?
Jarvis, like Edwin Jarvis, the butler.
Okay.
So if you want to see some like Avengers B characters, they'd like take center stage in this. Like Quicksilver is featured a lot. You never really get to see a comic featuring Quicksilver's inner monologue, but he's actually features a lot in this. So, so if you want to like hear like what some of the B kind of characters that are very rarely given the spotlight, like Quicksilver, Red Wolf, Rogue is given a lot of attention in this one. There's two Wasps now, Jaina Van Dyne and Nadia Van Dyne, and Nadia's given a lot of time. So there's a bunch of like secondary characters that are not super popular that they obviously purposely wanted to give them a reason to take center stage. So they took all the big ones that everybody knows, like Captain America and Black Panther and Captain Marvel, and say, no, you sit down, let all these side Avengers that normally are kind of filling B roles to step up. One of my favorite moments from the comic, and I know you're going to make fun of me for this because I told you that I love Rogue in the Avengers. I think she's awesome because they definitely play down some of the earlier tropes that she suffered from in the X-Men. But she just straight up, no spoilers, by the way, straight up murders Corvus Glaive. Which, if you know anything about his power set, doesn't really matter because Corvus Glaive is functionally immortal. But she murders him just brutally, sticks her hand right through his chest. It's awesome. So... because she gets really pissed. So if you want to know why it is that the Earth gets teleported and how it is that these kind of B-level Avengers in the modern era, because it's a very modern comic, are working together to solve the issue, and it's again, it ends just like every Avengers comic. You know, everybody coming together is the right thing to do. You're better together. Teamwork is the way to win, and it also expands the universe a little bit. There's a couple new characters added to the universe that don't exist before this issue, which is fun.
Okay. Just for clarity, because this is the way I've always understood it. Originally, Captain Marvel was Miss Marvel with the black and yellow, right?
Good. The naming conventions. You're asking me something I'm not positive about. Because Miss Marvel, was she ever not?
Because the way I saw this in one of the animated series, but Rogue got her powers when Mystique convinced her to steal the powers of Miss Marvel. But when she did it, Mystique told her to not let go until she, like, basically killed her. And to my understanding, the character she did that to was basically the current day Captain Marvel.
Yes. So yes. Carol Danvers, who is the Captain Marvel, who we call Captain Marvel now, had the alias Miss Marvel. And that is the person that Rogue, while she had the alias Miss Marvel, that's when she took Carol Danvers' power set and nearly killed her in a quasi-permanent way. Yeah.
Yeah, and she like half absorbed her psyche and everything, which is why she's so fucked up.
Right. It's why she was messed up for years, is because she basically tried to suck somebody to death, and that's not something she had tried before.
So, do they ever, like, because that's still canon, right?
Yeah.
That's how Rogue has her powers. So
that's how she has like the basic ones. Yeah,
the flight and the strength and everything.
Yeah,
and she still obviously has Rogue's ability, but like all of her like Superman-esque stuff came from Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. Do they ever resolve that to your knowledge? Because obviously Carol Danvers is an Avenger, and now Rogue's an Avenger. Like, you think they'd be like, hey, remember when you tried to kill me that one time? And like, yeah, we should probably talk about that before we like go do this thing. I was just curious.
I'm trying to see. So, the binary powers are the ones that like she has now, right? Where she like activates God mode, like Carol Danvers. Mm-hmm. That is what she gained after Rogue took her initial powers. I'm trying to find out where. It says here is just. Her thoughts and memories from Carol's eventually subsided, but the superpower she gained never went away. So I guess they never really explain it. They just say she just didn't go away.
Obviously at the time they didn't intend there to be a lot of Avengers X-Men crossover, but right. I was just curious if they ever dealt with that. That would be an interesting storyline.
You mean like has Carol Danvers been able to confront?
Like, what the fuck?
Oh, yes. Like that's happened many times in comics that Carol has confronted. Okay. Because she's actually gone on like adventures with the X-Men while she didn't even have powers and stuff. So she she's you fucking stole my life, bitch fight has happened a couple times. Yeah, it was very much a simmering resentment for many years in different comics. Different authors took advantage of that personal conflict. But just like most comics now, Rogue just kind of they really made her like the debilitating mental toll it takes on her to absorb somebody's powers is kind of downplayed now. She kind of takes powers willy-nilly. It messes with her a little bit, but not nearly as much as it used to, where she was terrified to touch people because of the effects. Now she does it on a fairly regular basis. I think in this graphic novel series, Avengers No Surrender, she does it like 4 times. So she's not really scared of it anymore.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're done. You guys, anything else you want to talk about? You good?
All right. We're gonna bust some Hulks. Let's go do it. Bust Hulks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had a quick question for you guys. I want to do a quick prediction. Do you think the presence of Hulkbuster is going to push down the win percentages of factions that rely on throw damage, like Asgard and Brotherhood and some of those throw heavy things? Do you think Hulkbuster will actually do that because everybody will want to play Hulkbuster? Do you think people...
I guess it depends on by what metric. I mean, obviously, yes, right? Like, to some degree. Mm-hmm. Do I think, like, Brotherhood and A-Force are going to go away? No.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, the flavor of the month, the same people... The problem is because so many people play multiple factions that, by some logic, there's got to be, well, the huge influx of Avengers players playing the Hulkbuster theme is going to draw some of those same players away that are playing those throw-heavy factions.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
So, I mean, within reason, yeah, somewhat, but I think it'll even out mostly.
Okay.
And also, I think at this point, if your sole strategy is kill people with throws, that's going to... I mean, I think Asgard's win rate will continue to plummet, but that has very little to do with Hulkbuster. Blasting off again.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Obviously, somewhat, because there's an affiliation that directly counters them now. But I think we could all argue that throws have been really strong for a long time, so it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Also, stay tuned for next podcast where we reveal Jeremy has discovered how to play Dark Dimension and will enlighten all of us. We're gonna find out how to bargain.
Yep.
No bargain.
No bargains. Jeremy's out there at Big Lots, like, how does Dormammu work? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. Hopefully you had a good time. We were a little crazy today, but hopefully it wasn't too bad.
I liked it.
This has been Brandon.
And Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD.
And Jeremy.
And this has been Busting Makes Me Feel Good.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
I'm not dead. Still alive.
Still alive?
Still alive.
Doing good?
Yeah, man, you were really out of it.
I was tired.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you went fucking ham, right?
I worked 76 hours in 5 days and then went to the Chiefs game, which is not exactly a relaxing experience, while it is a very entertaining experience. Mm-hmm. I was tired of the Chiefs game. I didn't even really get into, like, my rhythm until, like, I don't know, the third quarter.
Yeah. Main topic ideas.
I mean, we're going to talk about Nick a lot, but yeah, we should go with the main topic.
Is there anything Nick inspired?
I mean, we could...
I have a topic that I thought about. Go ahead.
I was thinking chess clocks. Like, I think it's very successful. I don't know if it's a main topic yet, but, like, I'm 100% go, and I think there's a million reasons why.
Yep.
Got it. We'll just do tournament review.
What was your topic, Parker?
My topic was cards and inspired by Nick Jr. cards and effects that award VPs. They seem to be like really premium early in the game, but recently I haven't seen them really anywhere. Is that something that is that something that it has never been that good and we thought it was good maybe for a while, or is it actually super viable and we've just kind of gotten away from it as a meta because there are other effects? Mostly I was just trying to determine, because sometimes I look at Tactics cards to give VPs, and I look at now Nick Fury who gives VPs, and I'm going, is that really, really strong, or is that actually pretty weak? Because that's not going to make a difference in the game.
Parker, I'm getting some weird staticky feedback from you very occasionally. Can you confirm that all your stuff's plugged in without unplugging your headset?
Yeah, it's all very plugged in.
It's his new supercomputer.
Secure the connections.
It's all very plugged in. Maybe was it like my breath? Maybe was it shooting on the mic?
I don't think so. Push your mic up just a bit.
Mic up, like high, like vertical?
Usually you want it above your mouth. That way you can't breathe on it. And it doesn't like hit your shirt or anything. I haven't heard it since I said something. So
okay.
Anyway,
so yeah, I thought this is an actual legit thing that I'm curious about. I have lots of questions for you guys about it because I was staring at it the other day, and Fury brings it up.
We can definitely bring this up during news and just talk about it as like a small segment, because I think victory point scoring outside of crisis cards in the game is important to talk about. So that's fine with me.
Okay. I did have something in playing currently for the tourney roundup, or do we want to make that just the main topic? We'll just like tournament performance.
Well, let's make it the main topic.
Okay, deal.
You can leave that stuff there. We'll just talk about it in the main topic.
Yeah.
But so anything cool happened to you guys the last few days?
Honestly, Hulkbuster is like the most cool thing that happened. Building Hulkbuster was super cool. I was really nervous. Actually, no, I'll get there when we get to hobby projects, because I'll step on exactly what I wanted to talk about with Hulkbuster. But I was a little nervous. Anything that's really cool? Well, my computer, right? I just built this weekend, man. I was amazed how easy it was to put together. I was really nervous. It was going to be really complicated, but I plugged it.
Did it come in parts?
No, it was one big unit. They have this really cool, I didn't know this stuff existed. You probably heard it because you've done a lot more shipping than I have, but there's this it's a packet. It's like the size of like a hubcap basically, and it's got some sort of aerosol foam expanding thing inside that works in a chemical reaction. So basically, they put it inside of the machine, close everything up, and then I don't know if it's like an impact or a pull cord or whatever it is. Yeah, they
puncture the bag.
Right, and so all of a sudden the thing fills up all the spaces, and so they didn't take. It was entirely pre-assembled, preloaded. Everything was hooked up and just held together in place by that substance. And so when it got here, all I did was take the side panel off and just take the whole piece off as one. That was all the styrofoam, really, except for the styrofoam that contained the top and the bottom of the case, and plugged in the monitor and the peripherals, and just hit the power button. And within 45 minutes, it was running. It was crazy cool.
That's probably most. How long did it take you to download everything again, or did you swap out your hard drive?
No, it was. I have everything on the cloud. Like everything that's worth it is on.
I forgot you uploaded your entire computer to the cloud.
No,
that's really convenient.
No, the Dropbox stuff is gone. That helped my computer. But honestly, my old computer is not broken, and this came with a keyboard and mouse, and I had an old monitor because I got a new monitor too. So, I have an entire rig set up just with a really old computer in a box sitting there. So if I ever want to turn it back on, I don't have to completely disassemble this and reassemble the old one. I could just take out the new one and plug it into a few things. So I'm not if I really want to get into my old computer for some reason, but I never really store a lot of data except for this podcast, which is also on Google. So
I got the static again. Jeremy, did you hear it?
I did not.
Okay. Were you listening at all?
I was listening, but I didn't hear it. I haven't heard it I haven't heard static from him at all.
Maybe it's me.
And usually it bothers me the most. I'm usually picking up on all of it.
Okay. I'll just assume that nobody can hear it, and then if you're listening to this pre-ramble and you heard a little bit of static when Parker was talking, send me a message and I'll know to fire him.
Well, I wish I could see it Is it only when I'm talking, or are you hearing it in spaces too?
Yeah, it's like it's almost like feedback while you're talking.
Huh.
But it's just like a small crackling sound. It's like you're chewing on styrofoam while you're talking a little bit.
Well, when I do my, I don't want to pause my playback now, but I can listen to my Audacity maybe later and see if I can find out if I can hear it. But anyway, I am amazed by this computer, and it's completely changed the way I use computers, because my old computer I had to, like, you know how, like, when you have an old car, like a really old car. Brandon, you might know. Have you ever understand like what it feels like to have a really old car?
Nope.
Like a jalopy style thing that you have to, bang 3 times in just the right way to make sure the air conditioning.
I don't know why
on.
You would say something like that about my vehicles. That trip to Colorado was probably the worst
right
I've ever had.
Right.
You remember that, right?
When
I was pretty sure you went. It was like you, me, Jake, Max, and Jeremy, I think.
Yeah, when we had to start it in a parking lot.
Not this like Jeremy, by the way. It wasn't me. It was a different Jeremy.
Yeah, other Jeremy, not Constance. So anyway, yeah, it was in this old Suburban. It was a 1995 Suburban, I think it was. And I'd been driving this thing, and it was a piece of junk. Like, it was a shitty, like, auction car. But I was driving to Lawrence to pick up Jake, and we picked up Jake, and we were turning around, because we were on this weird side street. We pull into this parking lot to turn around, and so I'm doing a 3-point turn, and I put it in reverse, I back up, I went to pull down the gear shift to put it in drive, and just rip the entire gear shifter off the side of the steering column. I was just like, I looked down, I was like, and I like look over, I can't remember who was sitting in the passenger seat, and they were just like, the car's in first gear because it went all the way down. And so it's like, well, we can't drive to Colorado in first gear.
Oh my god.
And so I literally like broke the dashboard because I didn't have any tools with me. So, and we're like stuck in first gear in a parking lot, and I was like, I barely have space to turn around. And so I like break the console to jam my hand down inside of it and I'm just feeling around looking for the linkage to figure out how to manipulate the gear shifter to get us into like fucking drive so we can get out of here. And it took probably about 10 minutes. I finally figured out what was moving to shift gears and cut the shit out of my hand trying to push it hard. Because when you've got a 12-inch lever, it's hard to move that part with just your fingers. And so, yeah, I finally got it to shift into drive. And I was like, well, we can either cancel the entire trip or drive to Colorado like this. So we drove to Colorado. And then once we were there, the starter went out. And so we couldn't get the car to start to leave Colorado. I had to bang on it with a rock until it finally started. And we didn't turn the car off all the way back to Kansas City. We filled it up with the engine running. Like we had to stop for gas like 3 times. The car did not turn off for 10 hours.
You know, along the way, all the trips people take with you, and I'm included as well as Parker, where the question gets asked, and I imagine more than it should, how is your vehicle the best vehicle to be taking?
It's not, but nobody else wants to drive, and nobody volunteers their vehicle. I never want to take my car, by the way.
When we were sitting out there, when me and Parker were like,
at the Chiefs game, and like I go to start the car, doesn't even crank.
But we both know it's 100% our fault. We didn't say otherwise, and we know that shit happens. That's why we didn't flinch. It was like, okay.
I told you, and like you guys were joking before we got the car. I was like, we know Brandon's car isn't going to start. I'm like, fuck you guys, it's going to start. Get in the car, absolutely nothing, no response at all. I told you guys I figured out what happened, right?
I think you figured it out right then, right? I mean, the car started eventually pretty fast.
No, but did I tell you why it didn't start?
No.
It was the anti-theft device trigger because someone broke my mirror.
Oh.
Which is why I had to put the key in, put it into on, and then take it out of park and put it back into park. And so that tells you that it's not being hotwired. You have the key, and it turns off the anti-theft device. And then that's when I got it to start. You guys are lucky I thought to try that. Or else we would have been fucking sitting there waiting on an Uber.
Yeah, I was like, well, worst case, we'll just Uber. Whatever. Life goes on.
Yeah, that surge pricing leaving a fucking football
game.
Oh, God. Like $80 to Uber to the gas station.
You'll see us. We're the ones in the back.
Yeah, not to mention you got to wait for the Uber to get through the traffic to get you.
Oh, yeah.
We would have been there for 3 hours at least.
Oh yeah. At least we had a grill. We had a grill and food. We'd be fine.
That's true. We could just put the canopy back up even though it was raining. Just like fucking tailgated.
I did drive historically to one event. I drove us to the last Adepticon. Remember that?
You got one?
Yeah, I got one.
Do you?
I drove to the last Adepticon, and the reason why it's famous is I almost committed suicide and took you with me with vehicular homicide.
Oh, that's right.
Of that.
Because
of fucking Iron
Cry
Druid.
Hamhawk and let loose the hogs of war.
Yeah. I white knuckled that steering wheel. I will never forget how furious I was. I have been in serious road rage situations, but no amount of traffic, no like cut off or like stuck, behind the wheel in a red light. Nothing has ever made me as mad behind the wheel as listening to that goddamn Scooby-Doo voice. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I know what I'm going to do tonight now.
You're going to re-listen to that? Or get a clip of that? Send it to me?
Yeah, I'm going to get a clip of that and put it on a soundboard so I can play it during the podcast. It's going to be great. I'll add it to my other 2 clips, the one of Jeremy singing and the one of Parker saying Brandon was right. It'll be great.
Have you guys seen the Moon Knight trailer yet?
I have not.
No, I saw that it was up, but I don't really care.
Yeah, I have not. I have not seen it either.
I will watch it when it's on Disney Plus, and yeah, that's about it. I have no interest in watching trailers, but I know I'm going to watch it anyway.
Apparently, also they've started. I don't know if it's writing or pre-production on She-Hulk, which I know Jeremy's super excited for.
Oh, I am.
Mm-hmm. Is it somebody who just photoshopped that one scene in the cell to make the one girl green, and that's it? That's the trailer.
No. Let's see. I was gonna see. Oh, I see. They asked Kevin. Is it Kevin Feige? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
They asked him to come back for Abomination for the show, and he didn't know. It was completely surprised. Apparently.
Wait, what?
Oh no, not Feige. No,
Kevin. That's
Tim
why
Roth.
I was confused.
Tim Roth is Abomination. Yeah. Sorry. Kevin Feige is the person who
creative
called him.
director.
Yeah.
Because I was very confused,
because he was briefly
Abomination,
right? Because he was briefly in Shang-Chi also. He was like a little cameo in Shang-Chi, but
who had a cameo in that?
Tim Roth's Abomination was in Shang-Chi.
That wasn't Abomination.
Wasn't it?
No, it's just some other random monster guy. I'm pretty sure. I guess I could check.
No, it says he briefly appeared in Shang-Chi. It was a cage fight.
That did not look like.
Yeah, it was a cage fight
from the movie.
He was a cage fight with Wong.
That was Abomination?
Yeah, it's apparently Abomination.
Oh.
I heard other people saying that, and I assumed that they were just wrong when I saw it, because I was like, that is not Abomination. Like, that's not him. So I was like, I assumed that they changed their mind last minute or something, or that the rumors were just false.
No, that's supposed to be him.
He is uncredited as Abomination. So if it is him and it's supposed to be Abomination, it is not official. But he is listed on IMDb as sidecast. I thought it looked visibly different than the Abomination from the Hulk movie, which is why I assumed that wasn't him. But maybe I'm just misremembering what he looked like, because I haven't seen that movie in a while.
At any rate, I'm excited for a She-Hulk show. I hope they do from the She-Hulk series, the one from the early 2000s. It was super fun.
I expect a combination of Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, and Johnny Bravo. Is that what we're gonna get? I don't know anything about She-Hulk.
I think there is the Bird Girl is a new show, which is actually just the female hyperactive version of Birdman. So if you liked Harvey Birdman, the Bird Girl show is very entertaining. But you have to have liked Harvey Birdman, because the new Bird Girl show is Harvey Birdman on crack. Like, it's just straight a speed run of Harvey Birdman. No pausing, no blinking, just as fast as you can send jokes.
All right.
But I liked it because I like that kind of show.
Are you guys ready to get started?
Let's do this thing.
Let's do it. Get out of here at a reasonable time.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god.
Bust it real good.
That one was for Tyler. Tyler keeps posting that fucking GIF on Facebook anytime someone says the word Hulkbuster. It's the Ghostbusters one where it's the guy singing the song. He's like, "Busted makes me feel good."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like, calm down, man.
Oh shit.
Parker, do you drink coffee?
No. I actually love.
Jeremy?
I actually don't mind the flavor at all. But I really. So I like decaf. Okay. But I can't.
You don't like being addicted to caffeine?
I don't like it as a drug, and I also don't like what it does to me. And it makes me feel bad. You guys saw me once with. You guys remember the one time I did Mountain Dew in the game store?
No.
Yeah, you guys. I don't know. Maybe you weren't there. This is back in War Machine days. One day I did Mountain Dew, and everybody's like, "We don't want you like this anymore. Please don't drink Mountain Dew." It's not.
I can imagine.
I'm gonna start switching out his shit for Mountain Dew now. This will be fun. We'll give you a Red Bull.
You won't like it.
Give you a kick in the ass.
You won't like it.
Do you give everyone wet release? What happens?
You won't like it.
I just get really obnoxious. I'm already borderline.
I wouldn't know what that's like.
I get really obnoxious. I guess if you're into watching a top spin and that circus music, that's basically what was playing in my head at all times when I'm.
So you basically turn into Peter from Family Guy.
Kind of, yeah.
I enjoy coffee, but I can't drink it. My guts get wrecked.
So every time I try coffee, I think it tastes like dirt, and then I realize it was ground this morning. So.
Oh, that was the setup for that.
Son of a bitch!
Wow, he got me good because I took it seriously.
You bought in. You were too bought in, and you're like, wait, what? Oh, god damn it, he got me.
Yeah.
By the time you've contemplated it, it's already too late.
Yep. I didn't even see it coming. It was so late.
You did.
Well done.
I think I missed it the last 2 weeks. I've been too fucking tired.
No, you're right. I'm pretty sure it was there. Oh, no, sorry, it was there 2 weeks ago.
I mean, I think I make some random puns by accident, and then people just assume that was the joke. Oh, boy. All right, we better get out of here so I can go put together my Hulkbuster.
Yeah, you gotta go.
And then die.
It'll take you time.
Gotta do it.
Let's deal.
Are you guys excited for the playoff game this weekend?
Oh my god. My heart isn't going to be able to take it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not. Here's the thing. When I was a child, I would get really excited about football games and really enjoy watching them. As an adult, I think they're kind of bad for me.
Like they're stressful?
Yeah, I don't... afterwards, I'm like, oh man, I just feel I feel gross. I've been eating lots of nachos or something. I just feel when you're a kid.
I don't get that stress feeling anymore, and part of it's probably Patrick Mahomes, but I think I've kind of worn out that muscle in my body. I don't get that emotion anymore. But I will say that I put 100% of my available energy into home games. Oh my god. I walk out of the stadium and we have to take the elevator. I am exhausted. I give absolute. I scream, I jump, I clap. I have nothing left at the end of those games. All I need to do is curl up into a dark hole for 3 hours when it's over. So I don't have the emotional investment left to be stressed at that point. I'm already giving 110%. That it's I'm no longer worried that we're gonna lose. I'm just worried about if I'm gonna make it through the night.
Oh, the night. I really struggle to lose. And they're not. I'm not even them.
Yeah.
It doesn't even.
No,
matter.
I used to get this this deep depression almost when we lost. Yeah. But I don't really get that anymore. I just get annoyed and frustrated. And it's usually because actually, you know what? I think the Titans game, because we got definitively destroyed in the Titans game. The Bills game was frustrating because we were in it for most of the game. And you remember that game, Parker?
Yeah,
at least some of it, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first games I ever turned off. I was just like,
No, the Bills game you were at.
Oh no, I was there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was no fun.
Yeah, it's like, you were there. How'd you turn it off? Wait, you turned yourself off.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's the one I laid down in the fetal position in a kiosk.
That was when there was the 1.5-hour lightning delay in a fucking winter rainstorm, and it was like fucking 30 degrees.
Yeah.
That was a brutal game. But it's like, we were still in it, and like the defense started playing well in the second half, and then like literally the most bullshit penalty happened to like completely derail the game. And after that, it was like, then I was depressed. But like the whole time up there, I was like, we can get back in this game. But like, no, it's gone. But yeah, the Titans game, like start to finish, was just a shit show on both sides of the ball. It was depressing to watch.
But I like all the.
But it was such a shit show that like I knew we weren't going to win, so it was like, whatever. Like I'm just going to watch, get any entertainment I can, and turn it off.
Here's the thing that keeps me coming back to games, even though I don't think they're good for me. I think it's bad for me. The reason why is every once in a while there's a KU wins the national championship or Chiefs wins the Super Bowl, and I am so happy that I was there. I remember that shit forever. Like forever and ever and ever. I will never forget where I was when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I'll never forget where I was when KU won the national championship. Like, I can't forget. It's indelibly marked in my mind. And it's that kind of thing that goes, I am willing to take the chance that this is going to be horrible for me because this might happen. This might happen again. So I love watching a really, really, really close, great game. I love that.
Well, also, in this new era of Chiefs football, even the losses are generally pretty entertaining. Like the Rams loss of 2018, that was a little heartbreaking because I really thought we were going to win that one. But like, you can go back and watch it, and there's so many entertaining plays that happen, like memorable moments in those games.
Wasn't that the like 50-50 game?
54-51.
That was insane.
The first time in NFL history a team has scored 50 points and lost.
That was insane.
And there was some bad officiating in that game, but we also had the ball with a chance to win, so it's like, we should have won. Like that's on you at that point. As we're like the Bengals game from a few weeks ago, it was like that was the big shit show of officiating I think I've ever seen. It's like they called a false start on the wrong team. Like, fuck you guys. like you guys suck.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
False start on the wrong team, and they gave illegal hands to the face to a cornerback. And I've never seen that in my entire career of watching football. I've never seen that happen. And on the replay, it's not there. Like you motherfuckers.
So you're gonna get to see it, right, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. And then if the Titans win, I'm hoping the Titans lose. Not that I'm worried to play the Titans. I think we'll be okay if we play the Titans, but I want to go to the AFC Championship game. I think that would be fun because I've been two of the last 3 years because of fucking COVID. But yeah, I think it'd be fun. Going to 3 AFC Championship games at home in 4 years is pretty awesome considering that I should have been at all 4 of them, which is like already like a historic pace. So,
all right.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully everything goes well. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and wrap it up.